butterflies. There's no disguising how I feel whenever I'm with you. I've waited till the moment's right to look into those starry eyes and say the words that I'm thinking all the time. Oh, I do, I do, I do, I love you. Oh, I do, I do, I do, I love you. With all my heart, I love you, dear, I do. So let's start again, but money this time I'll have you and you'll have me, and we can go wherever we want to. Our friends and family line our pathway with stars for me and you. Oh, I do, I do, I do, I love you.
Welcome to the final stream for the Indie X for today. I'm Rui Parreira, I'll be your host for this section. And with me, I have Joey from Harmonica Studio, and we'll be playing and showcasing Detective Instinct Farewell, My Beloved. Hi, Joey, how are you? Welcome to the stream. And
Hey there,
welcome
Rui.
to Indie X.
I'm doing great. No, thank you so much for having us. I'm really excited to get to show off the game here.
Okay, so first of all, congratulations for this release. I guess there'll be a demo for the game. It's already available for everyone that can try the game right now. So
Mhm.
uh, after we're showcasing the game, talking about a little bit of the game, go grab your demo. You have a special update for the game for the DDX. I guess I just read the release notes for the update, so I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
there's something
We just released an
refinings.
update on I believe Saturday night, just a couple of refinements that people have asked, a couple of things like quality of life changes since we first released the demo over the summer. So yeah, definitely people checking it out now are getting the best version of it.
So before we dive into the game, so I'm going to ask you some talk about the harmonica studio. Where are you from? Your background? Where are you guys come up with the idea for this new game?
Sure, yeah. So the best way I can describe it is that the group developing this game, we all met on internet message boards in the 2000s based on developing like pixel art. So a lot of our background comes from just a mutual interest in video games and pixel art. And all of us were like pretty good friends back in the like 2000s era message boards. What now would be Discord servers, but back in the 2000s it was internet
Of
message boards.
course.
Um, but we probably fell out of touch a little bit once we got a little older, went to college and everything. But all of us pursued different interests. So for me, I very much pursued an interest in music and film and uh, storytelling and that kind of thing. Whereas some of my other friends had very much developed their artistic abilities or programming abilities and so such and such. And then over the pandemic, we reconnected, just because we didn't have much else to do, and we just kind of like found each other again on the internet and realized that we all still had these passions and these desires to make things. And a couple of us in particular had this mutual interest in Japanese adventure games, which you could say something like Ace Attorney or Famicom Detective Club, games like that. And we realized just in kind of talking to each other that a game like that really suited our sensibilities as creators and as artists. And at some point, I just kind of I said enough was enough. We got to make something. I just told them, I'm going to come up with a story. I'm going to write a quick treatment for a mystery that takes place on a train, and we're going to make a game about it. And I'm sure that at first they probably told me like, yeah, sure, okay, we'll see about that. And then a week later, I handed them the treatment, and they're like, oh, that's pretty good. Let's make it. And it's pretty much that simple. From there, we started making it.
There are a lot of people that's just the coronavirus, the all of this. We cannot do our work. We don't do anything outside at home. So many people just grab itself to do some games, some indie games in this period. Don't you agree?
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
are one of the example of that case. So how many are you?
So the core team is about 5 of us right now. So I'm the writer and director of the team, and also the composer of the music. We have 3 artists, 2 of which are handling the pixel art and the game's 3D backgrounds, and one of which is handling the illustrations that you'll see, just like traditional illustrations that show up in the game, and then our programmer. So it's a 5-person
So
team.
okay, so the game will be releasing next year. I
Yeah,
guess beginning. You
that is
just
the plan. Yeah, the plan
announced it.
is,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
early
plan
next
was
year sometime.
to release in the end of 2024, but you
Hmm.
just grab it with releasing the 2012. So
Yeah,
we can go to the game, so we can keep talking, and I'm going to show the game. That's
sure.
why the people are here to play. So this is the actual start screen. We can play with controls. It's better for controller or with a mouse and keyboard.
I would say it's pretty comparable. We're trying to make sure that both experiences are really strong. I think most PC players will probably have a more comfortable time playing with mouse.
Yeah,
But
so let's go for
whatever you
mouse.
prefer. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So let's go new game. I just start a game to see if game works, but I don't know anything about the game right now. I know that this is a mystery
Mhm.
investigation game.
Sure.
I see some Phoenix Wright, as you said, Ace
Mhm.
Attorney, and a lot of Japanese kind of adventure style in
Mhm.
this game. It is your inspiration for this game, as you said before.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that my interest in this genre probably started with Ace Attorney, which I actually came to pretty late personally compared to a lot of other people that I know who played those games when they first released on the Nintendo DS. I actually didn't play Ace Attorney until they came out with the HD collection. And of course, everybody who plays Ace Attorney, they fall in love with it. I mean, it's just such a fun and enjoyable series. But I just have an interest in the history of these kinds of games. So when I played Ace Attorney, I was like, well, where did this come from? Like, what exactly is the history of this genre? And after a little while, you kind of go down a rabbit hole. One thing that really filled in a lot of the gaps too was Nintendo releasing a remake of the original 2 Famicom Detective Club games on the
Hmm.
Nintendo Switch, which was a real eye opener because that to me was like, oh, now I can see where Ace Attorney came from. It came from this style of game, um, which really began with Yuji Horii, who's of course most famous as the creator of Dragon Quest, but he also developed a game called the Portopia Serial Murder Case. I think it was maybe his first like major release, um, that really established the Japanese adventure game genre. Um, and this idea of the command select adventure game, where the way that you navigate through the game is with this discrete list of commands that you have on the side of the screen. Um, and he's really famous for inventing this idea of rather than it being a text parser where you type in commands and have to kind of guess what commands are actually going to be accepted
Hmm.
by the game, you just have a list of commands that the game will tell you you can use, and then it's up to you to figure out how to use them to actually progress through the game. Um, and so, yeah, basically, I
Oh,
just kind of went down this
like
rabbit hole.
this.
Yeah, exactly. So I went down this
So
rabbit hole of history and
So
just kind of figured it
wake
out.
up with the police knocking on the door
Mhm.
and trying to arrest her.
Mhm.
So thing, check, talk, save and quit is a great option, of course.
Mhm.
Talk, let's murder. That's right, buddy. A murder took place in this very room about half an hour ago. Okay. But that's impossible. I've been here all night. Helping the case, pal. So this is, I see the synopsis that you have a train. There's
Yeah.
a woman that was vanquished, disappeared in the train, and
Mhm.
nobody else can remember her in the train. So
Mhm.
it's up to the player to discover its location.
Yeah.
or-
So basically, this demo encompasses every aspect of the story before the characters get on the train, which is the main setting of
okay.
the game.
Okay, it's a
but-
prelude kind
yeah,
of thing.
but the main premise of the game is sort of a classic storytelling setup that was really popular in like the film noir era, in particular like movies in like the 40s and 50s, which is this idea of the quote unquote vanishing woman, which basically means that there's a character who meets another character and then that character goes missing, but everybody else that should recognize the other character is missing is saying that the person never existed. So there's this question of whether or not the person who allegedly met this person is actually remembering correctly, or if they're crazy, or if there's some kind of like debate involved over whether or not this character is real. The most famous example of this would be Alfred Hitchcock's movie The Lady Vanishes, which our game was very heavily inspired by, this story-wise. But it just occurred to me when I was trying to come up with a story for this style of game that would be a really interesting, like, sort of story setup to play with using the tropes of the genre. So that is.
So
what you'll end up with.
Agatha Christie's too inspiration, or
Can you say that again?
Agatha Christie's inspiration too,
What inspiration?
like Poirot, Agatha Christie's books.
Oh,
Okay.
sure, Agatha Christie. Yeah. Yeah, I would say like it definitely has a little bit of murder mystery in there. Agatha Christie murder
Yes.
mystery. I would say it's probably my interest in the mystery genre. Definitely in terms of fiction is probably Raymond Chandler. I'm a big fan of the Philip Marlowe books, and that's actually one area where the game's title is inspired by. There's a Philip Marlowe novel called Farewell My Lovely that is a really classic Raymond Chandler mystery novel. And so our title, Farewell My Beloved, is meant to sort of evoke a similar sort of hard-boiled noir title while still referring to an aspect of the story that will become important later on.
Okay. So we have this unlocking these conversations. We have another question. So it says that is we confronting the police with this. Man, I'm innocent. Okay. But yeah, of course. Yeah, you read the room wrong.
So the basic idea behind this interaction, it's similar to what you would find in something like an Ace Attorney game where you're finding a contradiction, basically. Because the police officer comes in here and says you must have committed a murder, so you have to figure out, well, what is some point of logic I can find that proves that there's no way I could have done this. And
In this case, it's a number of the room.
Exactly, right.
Was not correct. Yeah.
So at some point, the police officer tells you, "Oh, like you threw a man out of a window 5 stories," and then once you think to yourself that, "Wait a second, my room is on the first floor,"
It's one.
then
Yes.
you can bring up the room to him again, and then use that contradiction to get out of the situation.
So this is not a character, yes? No, it's another one. We have no name for them.
Yeah, the main character is named. It's sort of I guess kind of a throwback to make the main character somebody that you name as opposed to a named character like Phoenix Wright would be a named character. Even though the main character of this game is not really a self-insert. Like he does have his own thoughts, his own personality, and everything. It's still a character that you name yourself. I almost think of it like naming your kid. Like you're naming somebody that you're going to be overseeing for the entire experience. So it's a little bit more personal than if the character had his own name. You know?
Okay. So it's difficult to keep reading the story of the game and talking to you, but
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I'm gonna try my best to not to lose myself here.
Yeah,
so.
I can summarize it for people too.
So this one enters the room after the police,
Mhm.
but we don't know who he is.
Mhm.
But he's asking me the name. Okay, I'm who? Let's go. Ah, it's the Detective Doldrin.
Mhm.
Okay.
So he's in charge of the investigation taking place here.
Very nice. Is somebody really murdered here? So how many characters we have in the game, the final game?
It's a good question. I think probably somewhere between like 10 and 20 main characters. I don't remember the exact number. But
Okay.
yeah, there's something akin to that. Yeah. Lots of like NPCs and then lesser important characters as well. But in terms of like main characters that show up, something like that.
All right. Okay, check area. This metal room. Okay, okay. That was important for to say the police.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell me who is your character? Who I am in this game?
Yeah, sure. So the way that the game starts, it kind of eases you into figuring out everything that is the backstory of what's happening until finally you have like a picture of it. So basically, what your main characters in this game are American college students who are studying abroad in a fictional European country. So a lot of the story of the game deals with the events that took place while they were studying abroad and how that influences the events that take place on the train. So you're foreigners in a foreign country, you know, in a unfamiliar area, and you'll see a lot of that when the detective like will mention at the end of the scene that you're American, and then you know some of the details will be filled in as you go through the demo.
Okay. Oh, okay, again, think, check, talk. What? Why? Ah.
Yeah, this guy's a real piece of work. This detective.
Yes. I'm American. Anyway. Sweet dreams. So I read that you need to discover the woman before the train arrives to destination.
Mhm.
Do you have some timing mechanic, or
Nothing quite like
it's
that.
narrative?
It's an aspect of the story, basically. I would just say that the train journey takes 3 days, just in terms of the story. So the way that it ends up working out is that the game is divided into chapters based on each day that is on the train. And of course, this chapter being the prologue chapter the night before they get on the train. So the game in total is 5 chapters. So you have like day one, day two, and then I think day three is split up into 2 parts or something like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, so basically it's just a function of the story.
Do you have how many hours can we finish the game? We have
Yeah, my
some idea?
expectation is that it'll probably take players somewhere between 6 and 8 hours. That may change slightly. Some players will play it much slower because they'll be very thorough trying to find all of the dialogue and everything that they could possibly find. Because there's tons and tons of optional dialogue in the game and stuff you can do. Because a lot of the fun of this genre, in my opinion, is the fact that you have all of these commands. So a lot of what players should be thinking to do is like, well, I wonder what would happen if I use this command in this scenario, and just see how the game reacts. So it's kind of like a give and take between the player and the game world, where you're looking at the context of the game world and you're like, well, I can do this command right now. I wonder if this does something different from what it did before, because now the context of the scene has changed. So some players will be very, very on top of that and just trying to see every little bit of dialogue they possibly can, whereas others will kind of just beeline through the main story. And both are totally acceptable ways of playing the game.
Of course.
But it will definitely vary how long people spend with it, I think. But probably 6 to 8 hours is probably a fair estimate, I would say.
So in the story is linear. There's no maybe if I play another run of the game, I can check another alternative events, or is
Yeah,
it
it's a
very
linear story. That's an interesting difference between what this genre is the conventions of this genre compared to something like what we typically consider visual novels. The Japanese adventure game genre started as these command select adventure games where it's basically solving one mystery. And when you're dealing with one mystery, it's not like you can really have alternate endings where the mystery's outcome is different, right? Like the mystery is something that happened in the past and you're trying to solve it, right? So it ends up being one story. Whereas the games that kind of existed as an offshoot of that are the visual novel games where there's less quote unquote gameplay where you're dealing with the commands and more just like you have a couple of scenarios where you can answer a question and that changes the path that the story goes down. You end up with a totally different story or a totally different ending. And so that's something that you would see very often in what we usually consider novel games or visual novels, whereas the command select adventure games are more about navigating through one singular story, but having to use logic and solving basically the puzzles of conversations is what I usually think of it as, where each conversation in this game is like a little puzzle that you have to solve to figure out how to navigate through it and then move on to the next part of the game. So yeah, definitely not something with multiple endings, but definitely something where you can find a lot of different things on each playthrough because there's so many different commands you can do and so many different scenarios where you can try different things to see how people react and how different responses you can get. So I do think it still rewards people who play the game multiple times and try to do different things than they did the first time.
Mm-hmm. So the game looks really amazing. This art style. So the game itself is like a cozy game. You'll be playing the sofa. Did you make this game looking at the portable consoles like Steam Deck, like ROG Ally and Lenovo Legion Go? So we play in the sofa.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think this is the kind of game that plays perfectly in a handheld format. So definitely, like we will be looking to get it Steam Deck verified and try to make sure that people know that they can play it on portable consoles. We would love to bring it to Nintendo Switch, which I think would be a great outlet for a game like this. Nothing to announce about that right now, but hopefully someday we'll be able to do it. But yeah, I mean, it's ideal for that kind of game, and especially because a lot of the games that we were inspired by were Japanese adventure games that came out on the Nintendo DS. So that would be things like Ace Attorney, obviously, but also Hotel Dusk and Hotel Dusk sequel, Last Window. These are both really, really great games and really great stories that you just kind of love to just sit down and with your DS and play it and read it, you know. So I feel like in terms of what we think of our game as sort of playing off of that lineage of game. So definitely, yeah, handheld consoles would be the perfect way to play.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay. Oh no. Here he goes again. So do you have plans to expand this if the game is a success, or do you have any ideas for the future with these characters, with the main character, or do you have some plan, or you'll first see what happens with this game?
Yeah, I think you definitely got to see what happens first. I think when I first wrote the story, I never had any idea that it would be something I would expand further. I just wanted to tell one good story, and that was my goal with the story of this one. But you know, as you go along, I mean, we started developing this in I think 2022. You know, as time goes on, you start to get ideas. You start to think in the back of your head, well, maybe I could do something else with these characters, right? So it's definitely in the back of my mind. I think there's definitely room to expand, but for now, it's just let's make the best possible game we can, the best possible experience we can with this one, and yeah, just kind of see what happens from there.
So for our chat, that for the people that are in the chat, if you have questions to ask Joey, go ahead, ask. We'll tell him.
Sure. Yeah.
He's reading the chat also, I guess, so I can ask him some questions about the game.
I see someone in the chat mentioning they want to finish Emio the Smiling Man. That was a very interesting interesting development.
It's really
for us.
New game.
Yeah, when we first set out to make this game, we recognized that this particular genre of Japanese adventure game, and especially command select adventure games like this, where the main way you interact with the game world is through this command menu, were not something that were very well known in the West. A lot of these games were never translated in their day, and it really wasn't until like way later that we got some of these classic games like Famicom Detective Club with official localizations and sort of filling in the gaps of the
Someone
history.
was fans that just used the translation for the West players, yes?
Yeah. Sometimes there's a couple of fan translations and things like that, but these games never had a big foothold because they were never officially localized back when they first came out. So we recognized that our game was going to be slightly less recognizable to people when we first came out with it. I mean, of course, we developed it after the Famicom Detective Club remake, so anybody who played those games would be like, oh, I kind of know what's going on here. But it was really interesting to see that Nintendo was working on a Famicom Detective Club sequel while we were in development of this one, and then when them releasing that was really helpful for us because we were able to say like, oh, now it's not so much.
There's a
like,
market. There's a market for these games.
Exactly. It's like we could say like, not only did Nintendo feel like it was worth it to make one of these games in the modern era, but also now as a reference point, we can say like, well, if you've heard of Emio the Smiling Man, then you'll kind of know what we're something similar to what we're sort of doing here, like what our game's kind of like. And if you like that game, then you'll definitely probably have something to find in our game.
So, what was the main challenges to make this game for you?
One thing as a person who's been involved in many independent game developer projects in various capacities, things that never got off the ground, things that did get off the ground, game jams, like all kinds of things. I've done this kind of stuff with my friends for many years. And the kind of thing that I am very, very, very passionate about is being realistic with your scope, being realistic with what you're capable of making. Because so often I've seen projects that have a lot of passion and a lot of excitement very early on just end up not going anywhere because nobody can really decide on what the core of the game is and what the experience of the game is supposed to be, and it ends up just kind of getting lost in deliberation for so many like weeks and months until finally nothing gets made. So my goal with this game was from the very beginning to make sure that I knew exactly what we were doing. From day one, I was going to make sure that the entire thing was planned out very meticulously so that there was never a point where we were like, well, what kind of game are we making? Is this okay? Is the story okay? So it's kind of a non-answer to your question, but really I felt like the development of this game went very well because we didn't have a lot of major issues with what we were doing. We kind of knew what we were getting into.
It's a great answer too.
I would say
I didn't expect a drama. But,
I would say
we need to check YouTube for how to make a game or stuff like that. But it's okay.
Well, what you need to do is just make sure that when you're going into making a game that you have a very clear plan of attack where you're not just like, you don't just want to have good ideas and then just kind of get into a group of people. Oh, maybe we could do this. Maybe we could do this. Maybe we could do this. You kind of want to know what you're doing so that it's easier to develop a game plan for the future. And what really made this game such a joy to work on is that from the very beginning, we had a roadmap. It was just a matter of getting the work done, getting the assets done, getting the script done, getting the music done. And really that's been the major challenge with the game, is just the workload, right? Like the getting all the art finished, getting all the music finished, getting all the everything finished with it. But in terms of the game's design, in terms of the game's story and the overall structure, that stuff went very smoothly because we did it very early. We got it planned out very, very early, planned out in advance, and from there it's just a matter of getting the work done. So I would say no matter what, every indie game is a challenge in the sense that it's a lot of work. You have a lot of stuff you have to do. You have a lot of elements you have to consider, a lot of people you have to work with, and it's going to take a lot of time, especially for a game like this, which all of us are developing not as a full-time job. I mean, it's outside of our day jobs and everything, so we have to devote as much time as we can to it. So you just have to be realistic with
you
your time.
You still do that?
Yeah.
You still have the day jobs?
Yeah. So this is purely a passion project from all of us, trying to make the best possible thing we can with the time we have outside of our day jobs. But the
how long do you from 2020s, I guess?
Yeah, so we started development in this game probably, I think it was like March of 2022, something like that.
22. Okay.
Yeah. So it's definitely, if this was something we could work on full time, it feels like it's something we could get finished so much faster, you know. But at the same time, I'm glad that we've had the time to sit with it for the length of time that we've had, because I've been able to do a lot of refining to the script, a lot of refining to things here and there, just because I've had more time to think about it. But of course, at some point, you have to let it go. You have to say, you know, I've thought about it enough. I've learned everything I can learn about these characters. I know what this story is. It's time to let it go into the world, and that's what we're excited to do. Hopefully, very early next year.
But do you think that if the game succeeds, I don't know if you have, as you said, you don't have a plan for a sequel for this story. But do you think that you can change your life? This game is success if you want to change to a full-time job making games. It's your plan, or your second game still even
I can't
what happens to this one?
I can't say it's my plan, because that would be too optimistic, I think.
Okay.
But it's certainly something I would love to be able to do. I'd love to be able to make games like this for, you know, as long as I can. I think there's some statistic out there that says that the vast majority of developers only ever release one game on Steam, and I definitely don't want to be one of those developers. I want us to make sure that we're able to release more than one game and try to build something off of this. But ultimately, we're just, again, trying to make the best possible game we can here, trying to make something that'll be satisfying for the audience of people that like these kinds of games, and satisfying for us, because really it's a passion project at the end of the day.
So you said that you're a musician for this game. First of all, let me tell you that the music is really ambient, really nice.
Thank you.
You done everything. So you are a professional musician. It's you work with music. What you do? It's amateur level, professional level. What?
Yeah. So I studied jazz in college as a guitar player. So that's where a lot of my music and music theory background comes from. After graduation, now what I tend to do in terms of professional music work is I often play live gigs as a guitar player. So I think the biggest gig I'm involved in is I do a festival every year where we play every Beatles song. So that's like 200 something songs. So I play the lead guitar in that band. So it's just one of those like fun facts about me. I can say, I can play every single song by the Beatles.
That's cool.
But in terms of music composition, that's something that I do in my free time. I have a YouTube channel as well where I've done a lot of covers of video game music, and I've done some analysis videos of video game music. There was one video I did that got fairly popular a couple of years ago. But really, it's 2017, I guess. It's been a while by now. One video I did about the sound design in Super Mario Odyssey and some of the sounds that they use that harmonize with the background music. And that video was fairly popular and pretty successful on YouTube. But other than that, there's this really interesting and funny quote from the creator of Stardew Valley, who was also the musician and composer of that game, where he said something along the lines of like, well, if you want to get your music out there, it's very simple. All you have to do is create an entire game from scratch, because it's very hard to be a composer and just be a composer and try to be a freelance composer and get your music out there, because there's so many other people who are trying to do that. Like the market is super oversaturated with composers. So it's hard to just be like a nobody and then try to say like, oh, I'll compose music for your game, right? So at the end of the day, the real solution is just make your own game and then compose the music for it. So that's in some.
It was the first
sense,
objective to do this story is to put your music on.
I wouldn't say it's the first. There's a lot of objectives. I have a lot of passions. Like I said, I studied cinema and movies in college, and obviously have a massive passion for video games also. So I have a very strong interest in storytelling, and this game was very much my an attempt at synthesizing all of my various influences to try to tell an interesting story, and do it in this format that I find very interesting, this command select adventure game format. But definitely a big part of that too is like, well, with a game like this, I have a really good opportunity to flex my composition muscles and try to do some interesting stuff there. So really every aspect of this game is is the result of my interests. You know, I'm very passionate about everything that I was able to work on here, including the music, the story.
Okay. So we have a question in the chat from Zeta Flash.
Sure.
This, in your opinion, for you, how's the indie market this year?
I think it's very scary to be developing an independent game right now, especially if you're an independent developer who's trying to make it a career, because the amount of games that are released these days is really remarkable. It's ballooned to such an absurd degree, and I think it would be naive to think that, and a lot of people do think this in a very optimistic sense, where they're like, well, yes, there's tons of games being released, but most of them are bad. All I have to do is make a good game, and my game will stand out, and that's all I have to do is make something good. But I think the reality is that not only is there an oversaturation of games in general, but there's an oversaturation of good games. There's so much talent out there, and so many incredible developers and incredible games being made right now, that and the audience is just not big enough to keep up with how many games are being released. So it's very difficult to get your work out there, and create something that's going to resonate with a large amount of people. Again, if this is something that you want to do as a career, because if you want to do it as a career, then that's like, there's a certain amount of money that you have to be able to make from a product that you release. So in some sense, that's why for us, as not doing this full time, it's not a tremendous risk for us to spend time releasing this game, putting it out there, and then getting whatever we get from it, regardless of how successful it is. Of course, we want it to be a major success, and we want to be able to release as many games as possible and create sequels or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, it's very scary to do that these days, I think. And just having confidence in your vision and having confidence in the game you're making, and believing that it's a really good product, and doing the marketing and doing everything you can, that still doesn't guarantee that the game's going to be a success. But to be clear, I don't think that's any reason why you shouldn't try it, especially if you really do feel like you're ready to release a product and release something that you think is going to hold its own in the market. But you got to be careful. You got to definitely think very carefully about what you're doing and the time frame it's going to take to develop the game. That's another big thing, and the amount of money it's going to take to develop the game. So yeah, I've definitely learned a lot from creating and marketing this, and trying to figure out like what it's like to actually release an independent game. And like I said, I mean, me and the people developing this game, we really came to this from the pandemic, because we all got together and we're like, this passion came from having not too much to do during the pandemic and reconnecting and getting all excited about making games. We're not the only ones who were like that. There's so many people who have decided like they want to try to follow their dreams and create games, and the pandemic gave them a great opportunity to do that. And in one sense, that's phenomenal, because there's so many great games being made today. I mean, just look at the lineup here at IndieX and everything that we're seeing that was selected here. Just think of all the amazing games that weren't able to make the cut at IndieX, because there's so many. Like the amount of games that were submitted to this festival, my understanding was like nearly 700. Yeah. And it was very difficult to make that selection, I'm sure, for people, which is why we're so honored to be here. But it's such a huge challenge in this day and age to release something, and you just have to believe in yourself, believe in your vision, market it, and do the best you can to make it as successful as you can, but not get too hung up on whether or not it is a massive success, just because it's very hard. There's so many other games being made, so many great games being made. You got to be realistic, I think. So that's kind of my thoughts on the indie market right now. I think it's a really lovely community to be a part of at the end of the day, because even though it's difficult to get your game out there and feel like you're going to be a success, at the end of the day, like, connecting with so many other talented developers and being a part of this community is such a wonderful thing. And the community surrounding independent games is one of the most positive and lovely communities out there. So I have no hesitation recommending that people get into this and trying to follow their passions and make something interesting and try to make something that is going to resonate with people. But at the same time, I think it's important to be realistic about the fact that this is a very difficult thing to feel any confidence that you're going to have a huge return on investment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. About that, do you have already a publisher, or you're self-publishing the game?
We are
What's your
self-publishing the
plan?
game as of right now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Why is that?
So
Why you decided to
I,
self-publish?
it's a very interesting question. The question of whether or not you look for a publisher or decide to self-publish. I mean, publishers right now are in a difficult spot because of how many games are being released, and a lot of publishers are very reluctant to sign on risky propositions.
Yes.
So
yes.
that is a situation.
There's someone that
yeah.
waits the game to be done to
Mhm.
assume a publishing deal.
Sure. Yeah. There's
we have another stream today in the X that says that is auto-publishing the game because there are like talking about publishing the game with the 50-50 deal. And it says, well, I don't need any more your money because the game is done, so I'm not gonna give you the cut.
Exactly.
So
right. It's tough. It's tough because a lot of publishers are going to look for deals like that, and the challenge in the face of the independent developer, especially like for a game like us, where our team is made up of a small team of people who are doing this, not necessarily entirely for free, but a lot of us are going to have a stake in whatever this game makes. You don't want to then divide that further by a publisher.
Of course.
So it's very, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that publishers can offer. If that's something that you don't feel like you can do yourself, like publishers can market in other territories, they can help with localization, they can help with marketing in your own territory if that's something that you don't feel comfortable or confident doing. But it's very hard to find a deal that you're going to find very favorable, I think. So for us, it came down to the fact that like I'm never going to say no to any opportunity. I'll look into any opportunity if it's something that seems like it's going to be mutually beneficial. But at the end of the day, for us, we feel pretty confident that this is a game that will work best for us if we self-publish and try to do as much as we can by ourselves. I feel like we have the capability of reaching the audience that we want to reach, at least in the West, with our game on our own, using our leveraging social media and leveraging our own ability to speak to press and streamers and such. But no, there's definitely it's not the same solution for every game. Some games are going to benefit tremendously from having a publisher. Some games are going to need it because they're going to need additional funding to be able to finish development. But ultimately, it's about what you're trying to do and about what is realistic. And we decided very early on when we were developing this game that it was going to be something we were going to try to develop entirely by ourselves, and we weren't going to seek outside funding necessarily because we didn't feel like we felt like we could probably get away with developing this without needing it. Now that's whether or not that still holds true today remains to be seen. But we feel pretty confident that self-publishing will be the right way for us to go.
So far, how's it going in terms of the feedback from the players, the wish lists? What do you think your predictions about the game?
Oh, it's been great. Yeah, we've gotten a lot of great feedback. Actually, there's a form that we have linked in the game itself that people can fill out to give feedback on the game and what they think about the game. And we've gotten a very large amount of responses, especially for the amount of people that have played the demo. It's a tremendous response rate on the feedback form, which was very gratifying. But the feedback's been great and very interesting because I think the thing I'm always fascinated by is seeing how people navigate through the game, because people's level of experience with this particular style of adventure game is very different. So some people that are coming to this having maybe only played Ace Attorney, right? So how does the Ace Attorney player navigate a command menu compared to somebody who has played Famicom Detective Club before, or something like that? So we have a section in the feedback just to kind of ask people the way that they approached the different puzzles in the demo and the different kinds of logic things that take place. And it's been very, very interesting to see that, and we've gotten a lot of very good data on what players tend to do and what their expectations are. Gotten some good data about what kinds of quality of life features players would like to see, some of which we implemented for this very version of the demo that you're playing right now. I think that we are doing a very good job finding the audience that we set out to find with this game. But of course, we want to reach as many people as possible because, I mean, for me, it comes down to the fact that I think that this style of adventure game, this command select style, is very interesting, and I want more people to be aware of it. I want more people to have some interest in exploring some of these games, like Famicom Detective Club or
mouth to mouth
Yeah.
is working for you in this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
People talking about the game is trying to show to friends and family.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. We've definitely had a lot of people a lot of things like that, a lot of discussions and posts on forums and on Discord, and people sharing the game, being like, "Go check this out," because I do think that this even though Nintendo released the Smiling Man recently, and more awareness of this genre is starting to grow, I still think that our game, in the landscape of games that people would consider visual novels, I still think it's a relatively unique thing. There's not a lot of games being made in this particular style of gameplay. So I think that when people see our game, they recognize it as something that's a little different. I think that's true of a lot of aspects of the game. I think that's true of the art style as well. Like, we went with this sort of retro, pre-rendered 3D background approach with these sprites on top of it, which is a sort of an unusual aesthetic, but it's something that I think when people see it, they're like, okay, I haven't seen a game do something like that in a while, especially not a indie game. So it's all about just making something that we think will be interesting and somewhat unique to people. And we definitely have gotten a lot of excitement, and we want to try to get as much as we can. So anybody who's interested in a good story, or just interested in this kind of mystery game, definitely check us out on Steam, add us to your wish list. We want to try to bring it to as many people as possible.
All right. I was trying at the same time talking to you to advance the puzzle, so I just found a wallet in the bushes, and Daltrey, I just say, "This is your wallet, Daltrey."
Yeah,
I don't know.
You got it right very quick.
Yeah, no. Are you telling me this was just a lucky guess?
Yeah, there's actually a couple of different different responses he can have to you depending on what information you find. Because if you
Yes, it is.
Yeah, if you search the area again after he asked you about the wallet, you can learn some more information that makes it very clear it has to have been his wallet. But if you haven't found any of that information, then he gets a little bit annoyed if you guess him correctly, because he's like, wait a second, there's no way you could have just deduced that without having gotten this information. So there's lots of things like that in this game where, depending on what you do, certain responses might be slightly different. So that's an area where people's playthroughs are going to be different, where it just depends on how they navigate the game.
All right. So for me, it's been like a puzzle, trying to click everything, trying to read something while I'm talking to you. So
it's very difficult, I'm sure. You're
difficult, very
job.
difficult. I was, oh man, trying to do a live stream that is we can keep talking and playing at the same time is very difficult in this game.
No, it's I think these kinds of
so this demo focus only on this investigation. We don't see the train scenarios.
No, you don't get on the train yet. That will be in the game's first.
But this
chapter.
part will be the final game.
Yes, it will be
separate.
Yep. This will be the opening chapter of the final game.
The opening. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I guess from here, I don't know if there's anybody in the chat room that's some other question about it. So, anything you want to add to final thoughts about the game? What's your plan? Next moves? You are still refining the game, I guess, in the couple of months.
Yeah, I would say we're in the what I would consider the last phase of development, where we're just kind of finishing up all of the game's assets. We're refining things. We're polishing the game and collecting feedback to try to improve some of the systems and try to make it just a little bit more smooth for players. And I think that the length of time that phase is going to last can vary. So it's very hard to say for sure when exactly.
But you've done the game is ready right now.
I would
Is
say
playing start to finish?
it's possible to play the game from start to finish. Yes, and that's actually been true for a while because, like I said, we set out very early in this game to write the story and have the scenario more or less figured out from the very beginning. So after I wrote the script, I went through and did everything I could to import it into the game's engine and develop all the gameplay scenarios. So we've had a version of this game playable with, my very bad placeholder art um, for quite a long time. Um, and most of the work is actually just getting the art done and getting the polish and music finished and all of the assets and everything. So we're definitely in a phase now where it's mostly that we have left to do. But there's still other things to do, other ways to refine the game. There's other considerations to take in place that we're evaluating at the moment. Nothing that I can nothing major I can announce right now. But definitely, I would say that development's going very well, and we're very excited to, get it released as soon as we possibly can because we just want people to be able to experience the whole story. I mean, we've gotten a lot of feedback from people that when we ask them things that they don't like about the demo or don't like about the game, they're like, "It's too short. I want to see what happens next." And I don't blame them. I want them to see what happens next too because I think I'm going to personally have a very good time seeing how people react to the story. Um, just out of morbid curiosity, like
So, a personal question: what you like to play? What is favorite games genre? What you're playing right now?
Sure,
Can you
yeah.
tell me?
Um, I, what I usually tell people as sort of a bit of maybe simplifying it a little bit. I usually tell people I like Nintendo games and JRPGs. So I'm a huge fan of Dragon Quest, for example. Um,
Oh,
Dragon
you're
Quest is
about
one of my absolute
to
favorite
play
game series. Um,
the Dragon Quest 3 remastered is coming up.
yeah, Dragon Quest, I'm
Remake.
super excited for that. But on top of that, I'm right now I'm playing Metaphor Refantasio. I'm having a great time
Oh,
with that game. So it's
of
such a
course.
fun game, and I'm worried because Dragon Quest is coming out soon, so I got to finish. I got to finish
Yeah,
Metaphor for
we're
Dragon Quest
piling
comes
up
out.
the games. We have Dragon Age next week, so if we like RPGs, we have Western and Japan RPGs to play. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's games with tens of hours to play, so it's
I
difficult
know
to
it's hard. It's
play
hard.
everyone.
Those are the games I like. I like those super long RPGs that you can really get invested in. But on top of that, of course, I love these adventure games. I mean, I think my my personal game of the year right now is probably MEO: The Smiling Man, which I just think is a really really fascinating game, especially coming from Nintendo. Like I don't know if people I've seen a lot of the discussions about the game online, but if you've seen people talking about MEO, then you'll see a lot of people have a very strong reaction to it. Like they have a very like visceral and like emotional reaction to it because the game's story goes to some very interesting places, and some places that you would never expect from a Nintendo game. Um, and I think that that's something that has really like resonated with people and really meant something. So I would certainly recommend people check that game out if they haven't already, just because it's a very very interesting thing, in so many ways. And like, there's so much to talk about with Emio the Smiling Man. But on top of that, I just think that's a great introduction to this genre and this style of game that we're making here with Detective Instinct. And if you like Emio and if you like the way that game plays and feels, that's definitely something that I think you would get a similar feel out of our game. I think.
Okay, I don't know if we have a closing question from the audience. I don't know. It was giving a happy ending. No, I'm not finished the demo, but almost, I guess. I don't know if there's another places to check in this demo. If
Yeah,
you
there's
guys
there's
want
like one
to
more scene in the demo.
more scene,
But yeah.
okay. If you want to check the demo, is available right now in Steam.
Mhm.
So, Joey, I guess we are running out of time for this section. I
Sure.
really enjoyed to talk to you and play this Detective Instinct. Farewell, my beloved. Nice, interesting title, of course, too. And good luck for the game. I guess we in the X will keep on touch with you for the future. Do something with you guys that are launching the game. So for for you guys, tomorrow we'll be back for another run of games from IndieX. Games like this one we'll be playing all day. So check it out from 10, I guess, 9, 10 from the morning till now. So there's a lot to do and a lot to play and to see tomorrow. Joey, thank you so much for your words. Very nice person, and good luck for your game, okay?
Thanks so much, Rudy. Have a great one.
Take care. Bye bye, guys. Thank you. See you tomorrow.